Hi, I would like to welcome you to the Superintendent Student Advisory Board podcast. The Superintendent Student Advisory Board was established to provide an avenue of dialogue between high school students who are leaders on their campus with district leaders. Each year, the Student Advisory Board members participate in a community service project to give back, but due to our pandemic and social distancing guidelines, the students have decided to create a podcast to provide important dialogue about how to cope during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. I'm very proud of the Student Advisory Board students for taking the initiative to facilitate the discussions of mental health and how to cope with the difficulties we have all faced during this pandemic. Now, I would like to introduce our host and co-host, Khalees Skinner and Jaylee Jackson, who will lead today's discussion.
Hi, GPISD and all who are watching. This is the SAB podcast, and today's discussion will be focusing on mental health and stress that's been going on during this pandemic. It's been almost a complete year. Thank you. And no doubt all of us have been dealing with some stress, some anxiety. Yes. And we have a few guests here today who will be letting us know how they're coping with the virus, what their lives have been like, and the different changes that they've been going through amidst COVID. At the end, we will also have a licensed mental health professional, Dr. Haynes, here, who will give us some tips on how to deal with stress and how to better our mental health and how we can continue to stay safe throughout this pandemic. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Khalees Skinner. I've been on the Student Advisory Board for almost 3 years now. I am a junior. I attend North Shore Senior High, and I'm also attending San Jacinto to get my associate's degree in social and behavioral sciences. I've been advocating for mental health for about 3 years now, and it all started in about 2018 when, unfortunately, my father committed suicide, and it kind of left a rip in my family, and I realized that mental health was very important and that it's kind of the backbone of everything that you do throughout your life. If your mental health isn't good, not much else is. And this is my co-host.
Hello, my name is Jaylee Jackson. I am a senior at GPISD CTE Early College High School. I also attend San Jac, pursuing my Associates of Arts in Pre-Health. I enjoy dancing, arts and crafts, and just really motivational speaking. That's really something that I enjoy. And so doing something like this is really good for me because it allows me to speak to people and also help with the things that are going on in life, because COVID is real and everything that's going on is very serious. So I'm glad that we're here together.
Me too. We're gonna go ahead and start off with some interviews that have taken place over the past couple of weeks. We've had different people go and interview teachers, students, and all types of people within our community.
How are you coping during the pandemic?
I'm doing pretty okay now. I think for all of us at the beginning it was pretty hard, staying home and not getting that interaction with people. But now, we're here at school. We have people, got kids in the building. It feels more like we're getting kind of closer to some sort of normalcy, and I think that's helped a lot. The personal interaction I get with you guys every day. So,
what changes are you noticing within your students?
Due to the pandemic, I think it's hard a lot on the students emotionally, especially students who are only virtual and they have to stay home and they don't get to go anywhere. They don't get to see their friends. I've noticed some students do have their motivations changed a little bit, and that's gonna happen when we have this kind of a life-altering change, I think, and you lose that day-to-day interaction you have and that drive, because it's a lot easier. You see it in band class all the time, right? It's a lot easier to get you guys motivated to do what we need to do and make you do it correct when you're here in front of us. But when we were at home and we were all virtual, right, it's not the same.
What changes have you made to the band program in general in order to improve?
We've made a lot of changes as far as what we normally do here in the fall semester. Normally we're doing crazy marching band stuff all the time outside, but due to we don't want gatherings and stuff like that. We chose to not compete this year in the UIL marching band competition, and try and slowly move you guys into doing after school stuff. We started in small waves and small groups, and now we're back to full band stuff, so we could make sure we're keeping kids as safe as possible when we're meeting as a group.
What other challenges have you guys experienced?
Getting the same level of participation and effort from students that we would in a normal year, right? And it's what I went back to about when you're at home, and I'm the same way. If I don't have to do something because someone's making me do it, right? You're going to have a different attitude towards it. And when I was a teenager, I would have done the same thing that some of us are doing. The lack of motivation and stuff like that. So just trying to be super positive and always encouraging kids to turn their cameras on, to participate, to play for us. And we are seeing a little better participation. So I think as long as we keep at it super positive, we're going to see some good changes.
So Mr. Talio brought up some great points, and I think one of the biggest things that he mentioned that I just really stuck with was motivational changes in students.
Yes.
I would completely agree with him. As someone who's recently diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and an adjustment disorder, my motivational changes are very prominent, and I see it in a lot of peers. And I don't think
I agree
that a lot of teachers kind of take that into their perspective when they're planning out their day and they're planning out their classroom. And I think a lot of students don't take that into consideration as well, that their teachers are going through the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. There has been some motivational changes. I talk to a lot of people sometimes, and it's like, hey, how are you? And it's like, school. So I definitely understand what he was talking about. But he also said that he had to make some adjustments and changes to the classroom, which, it's banned. Why wouldn't you have to make adjustments and changes to the classroom? But with me, my adjustments are different because I can't even go in my classroom. I only take college classes. So for me, everything is virtual. So it's definitely an adjustment. What about you?
So I am taking mostly college classes. However, I did go in-person school for about 2 weeks. And I would like to say the changes are kind of drastic and slightly overwhelming when you first get there. I had an interior design class. This is interior design 2, so we were supposed to be doing hands-on projects, building models, painting, all that, and we couldn't do any of that. It was virtual in classroom. We were on Zoom, and my teacher was about 10 feet away. So, that's pretty much the gist of school now, is even if you are going in person, it still feels kind of impersonal.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you're
home. Homely,
And even if you're virtual at home, you still, you might have siblings, you might have pets that you have to walk now since you're home. They're whining, they're crying. Your parents might work from home.
Yes.
So you're at home and you're just sitting there and you're like, you want me to turn on my camera? You want me to turn the mic? You want to hear that? So it's kind of overwhelming, and then for some students it's underwhelming. It's like, okay, and what's new? Because what we didn't realize is we had some students who were already kind of lagging behind before the pandemic, who didn't have that motivation because they were dealing with things at home. They had issues with their health. And then the pandemic hit, and they're like, what's the point anymore?
I agree.
I think this is a perfect time to go into our next interview.
Hi, my name's Stephanie, and I'm a senior at Galena Park High School.
Okay, great. So I wanted to bring you in today because not only are you a senior during this whole COVID thing, but you're a student athlete as well. So I wanted to get both perspectives on that. How are you feeling about spending your last year of high school under these circumstances? I know it's tough.
Yeah, it feels sad and stressful that it didn't go as planned.
Yeah, that's understandable. I get that. What highlights of senior year were you looking forward to?
Honestly, it was prom. Even if, it was what I always wanted.
Yeah, I know that really sucks that it's up in the air right now. So how are you dealing with the mental stress that's coming on with all, because you're doing virtual school, so I know that it can be tough, and then sports as well. So how are you handling it? How are you feeling?
It's really stressful, but I try. Like, honestly, soccer is the thing that gets me through it because, like, it takes my mind off of everything that's going on.
I don't know about you personally, what your plans after high school are, but how do you think this pandemic would affect student athletes hoping to get athletic scholarships for college? How would this affect their season and getting their chances?
Well, a lot of students can't play because, like, some games get canceled, and like due to COVID, like they could just cancel the entire season, and it won't let coaches from like colleges see them play and stuff.
Yeah,
So, like,
that's true.
it affects them.
Yeah, that's true. That's really, really tough for them. What are you doing to take care of your mental health? How are you practicing self-care for yourself?
I take time by myself. Like, I try to like spend an hour watching TV or like listen to music, like just get rid of everything that's worrying me.
That's good. Those are good coping mechanisms. So and lastly, to finish off, what do you think the school and district could do to help out students going through this tough time?
They could try to understand a little bit. Like, they think they're helping, but a lot of people are going through stuff personally more, and like to school, like it just adds more and more stress.
Yeah.
So I guess I could add something to like help us a little bit with that, like with our mental stability and stuff.
Yeah, I completely understand that. All for it.
Stephanie, oh my, look, everything that you just said is how I feel. I am a senior, and let me just tell you that my emotions are a roller coaster. Everything is just so, it's fear. It's like, am I gonna graduate? I mean, of course I'm gonna graduate, but it's like, am I gonna walk across the stage? Am I gonna go to prom? I'm student council president, so we were gonna try to have a homecoming, and we can't have a homecoming. So when I tell you my heart was crushed, I text my mom, I sent her a picture of me crying. Like, it's just so, it's hard being a senior. It's like, it's your last year of high school. It's your last year being a baby. Yeah. And it's like, I can't be praised for it. I can't go out. I can't do that stuff. So everything that you said, it touched me. But yes, being a senior right now, it is definitely taking a toll on me. But I'm staying strong. You know, you gotta keep on going. I know that everything is hard, especially being seniors, you know, the babies, middle school, but with everything that's going on, I've just kind of I've just tried to think on the positive side. So everybody just stay on the positive side. Things will get better.
Yeah. The pandemic has done a lot, but we can do better. We can beat it, and we can be strong. Hi, as you can see, we are now a trio. This is Dr. Haynes, the Director of Mental Health and Social Services at Galena Park I.S.D. I want to go ahead and let you introduce yourself, tell us what you do for the district, and how long you've been working.
Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Karen Haynes. I'm the Director for Mental Health and Social Services in Galena Park I.S.D. I've been in Galena Park I.S.D. for approximately 22 years. Initially, I came by way of KI's Community Youth Services. I worked for Harris County Children's Protective Services for 8 years, and I later joined the Galena Park I.S.D. team as a special education counselor. I was then promoted to program coordinator for social services, later program director for social services, and more recently, director for mental health and social services. So I am very happy to be here with you all today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We just have a couple questions for you. Our first question would be, what are your concerns so far for your students in Galena Park I.S.D.?
I am very concerned about the mental health and wellness of students in Galena Park I.S.D. Not only have we been working with students, our team, I supervise the mental health intervention team and a group of social services workers, and I work very closely with the counselors under the Department of Student Support Services as well. I work with Dr. Michelle Epps and Dr. Sarita Augustine. The big concerns that our team have for our students is the mental wellness of how they're coping with the pandemic, the social isolation, because we know that at your age, you're very social beings, and not being able to spend time with your friends. Even we've heard from students that even returning to school has looked very different for them, and so it is a huge concern. We're also working with staff, because staff is having a very difficult time adjusting as well.
Okay, that makes sense. I see a lot of teachers who are struggling. I even had a teacher who just basically gave up one day and said, you know what, y'all do the work, Zoom is over, and I could see it's really tough for them.
Yeah.
So how do you recommend teachers cope with that?
So one of the things is I think we have to identify support systems. As adults, we have to identify who are our support systems. When we feel stressed, who can we go to? There's been a lot of emphasis on the students, and naturally so. We should pay attention to what's going on with students, but in order for our teachers to educate the students, we have to make sure they're well. We have to check in with staff, make sure that they're doing okay as well. And so if I had to give an advice to teachers right now, I would say, be honest about how you feel. One of the things I've been very honest about is my own personal fear and anxiety surrounding the pandemic. Prior to returning to work, I didn't leave my house except for essential things. I went to the grocery store, which was very limited, and I'm a very social person. I'm probably as active as you young people are in my personal life, because I'm always wanting to go to the mall, hang out with my friends, and do things like that. So me not being able to do those things, it took a toll on me as well. When they announced that we were going to return to work, I was so thankful that they said we are returning to work in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, y'all, I had to get into that mental space and start talking to myself. The self-talk really helped, and start looking at it is really okay. I did a lot of focusing on what does the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, say about this disease, and how can we mitigate the spread. So as I started to read and learn more about it, it became easier for me to return, because I'm like, okay, if I wear my mask, practice social distancing, wash my hands, keep my hands out of my face, my eyes, y'all know we want to touch our hair and do all that good stuff and be real cute. But I had to minimize those things, and just, I'm a germaphobe anyway, so it became very easy for me to pump up the sanitizer and wash my hands and do those things, and be okay with saying to people, this does not feel comfortable for me. I need you to step back. Please wear your mask, because sometimes that's not easy for us as well.
I completely agree. Have you had some experiences where,
like going to the grocery store, it's like, ma'am, there's markers on the ground, please back up. Please pull your mask over your nose. It's stuff like that, because this is my safety and yours. And you know, we just got to be safe. So I agree. It is, it's something serious.
A question that I have, you mentioned, Khalees, that your teacher at one point had a very difficult time in the classroom setting and said, look, I'm stepping away. As a student, how did that make you feel?
It made me very concerned, because as a student, you don't really take that time out of your day to think about how your teachers feel. It's always like, oh my gosh, so much work, I'm so annoyed, what is my teacher doing? What is she thinking? Why would she do this to me? And you gotta realize that's their job, to prepare you to go off and do something better one day. And also that they get paid, and it's kind of their livelihood to continue to do the things that they would have done if you were in the classroom or not. And they're struggling as well, because they had to adjust to the same things you had to do, but the difference was they had to learn how to teach you. And sometimes it doesn't connect well. A lot of them are older, so the technology wasn't there for them, and they're just now getting to it, and they're kind of struggling. And then the other thing is, I don't think teachers take a lot of time for themselves. I know that teachers, they spend money of their own paycheck on us. They're always looking at new stuff to try to help us learn, try to better their students. And I just think it's kind of tragic that the students usually portray the teachers as the people who are causing them trouble in the pandemic, without realizing that the students are putting stress on their teachers to be better. The teachers are putting stress on them to be better. The district is putting stress on everybody to be better, and we just kind of have to sit there and be mindful of how we feel and think from both sides of the aisle.
Thank you for that. And I love the fact that you were able to take a look at the perspective of the teachers, because oftentimes we're not looking at what the teachers may be experiencing as well. We're thankful for the work that the teachers are doing. I'm very thankful for the support that our superintendent, Dr. John Moore, and everyone that's below him has provided. We have taken an extreme and concerted effort to make sure that our faculty, staff, students, and the community are all safe. We're working to mitigate the spread, and we're working collaboratively to ensure that people are safe as they walk through the doors and as they're leaving, that we want you to return home safe.
Okay. Yeah. I want to say thank you so much for coming to speak with us today and answering our questions. And I hope you stay safe in this pandemic and have a wonderful year.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you for being here with our podcast today.
Thank you, Khalees and Jaylee, and the Student Advisory Board for bringing awareness to the importance of mental health. The second episode of the podcast will air in February. The students will continue the conversation and will provide tips for a successful second semester.